Welcome to the Monday Monologue. I know it's been several months since I've made any content, and I feel like I needed to kind of explain what's been going on and why I had to take a little break. As many of you know, I got COVID earlier this year and developed tinnitus. And besides just being annoying, it was really depressing in that it's really negatively impacted my ability to enjoy listening to music. Normally, at least an hour a day, I would go lay down on my couch, put on some music, and just kind of get into a meditative, just listening to the music deal. And for whatever reason, that really triggered the tinnitus. And I think what's going on is that when I'm doing other things that aren't related to my hearing or having to listen to something, that it kind of fades away, or sometimes it'll just completely go away. But then as soon as I think about it, or as soon as I'm, talking about it, or doing something where I really have to focus on listening, like when I'm doing a listening session, it would just ramp up before the music even started. And just like right now, just talking about it, my left ear's ringing like crazy. And I'm kind of learning to just deal with it. As a lot of you know that are suffering with this, there's no cure. I've been to a couple of different doctors and specialists, and they're all kind of like, yeah, a lot of people have it, get over it. It's no big deal. And of course, they're not suffering with it, so they don't know what it's like and how annoying it is and how bad it really can impact your ability to even hear other people talking when it's really bad. So I think I'm finally kind of getting over the depression part of that, and I've learned now to just play music when I'm doing other things and enjoy the music kind of as a secondary part of an activity instead of it being the main focus. And I can still then enjoy hearing music and listening to it without it making my tinnitus just screaming. And so anyway, that's one of the things I've been dealing with. And obviously, if I'm not going to be listening to music or can't listen to music, why would I get all excited about building two audio gear that I can't listen to? So I hope that kind of makes sense. The other thing that I've been dealing with, had some high blood pressure problems. Took a while to figure out a medication that was going to fix that. I ended up in the ER with crazy high blood pressure one day, and that was a pretty big scare, especially when a few months ago one of my close family members had a massive stroke, and now she's in a nursing home when she was previously living at home independently and was perfectly fine. And so the whole blood pressure thing and having her have a stroke and all this stuff has really made me kind of focus on taking care of myself. I think during COVID, a lot of us, I know I did, we're kind of sheltering in place. It's one of the things that got me into picking up, diving deeper into this hobby and then making this YouTube channel was I was at home all the time, and so hey, let's find something to do. And now that I'm not going to say COVID's over, but now that there's vaccinations, and please don't get into a vaccination thing in the comments. Anybody starts talking about vaccinations or anti-vaxxing your masks or whatever, I'm going to delete the comments because this is not the place for that. But anyway, I feel like that, with vaccinations and with, there's treatments now where you're not just put on a ventilator and people aren't just dropping like flies from it, that we are able to kind of get back out. I've been trying to get out and exercise and do some other stuff that I used to do before COVID, and so that's taken up some of my time. I've kind of dove back into my photography and been playing around with some really cool panorama cameras and some stuff that I've never done before. And so I've kind of trying to distract myself from this tinnitus by getting more into a visual thing, which is my photography. And so, that's another thing that I've kind of dug into. The other thing that I've been putting off is maintenance around my house. I had some trees that I needed to get cut down, and there was yard work and stuff that needed to be done that I've been kind of putting off, so I've been involved in that. And then the last thing that's taken up a good bit of my time recently was dealing with my car situation. Besides being into audio gear and being into cameras, I've always liked having a fast car around. And so in the past, I've had vintage cars, and I had this 40-plus-year-old Datsun 280Z that was kind of my sporty car that I enjoyed taking out on the weekends and stuff. And it was just getting really old and getting hard to keep maintained, and I was tired of, like, every time I wanted to go drive it, there was something wrong with it. And so I had a couple of other old cars and stuff, and I decided to just liquidate all this old stuff. So I had to put them up for sale, find buyers, all that kind of stuff. And then I went out and bought a cool new Dodge Challenger, which looks like this. And of course, I couldn't leave well enough alone. I had to get some cool wheels for it. I wanted to do some custom stuff on the interior and kind of fixing all this car up to be, like a custom for me kind of car, because I've never been satisfied with just having, a run-of-the-mill kind of car. So I've dealt with that, and now I've got like a nice new car that fits my little sporty thing. And again, that took up quite a bit of time dealing with negotiating all these deals and then getting all this custom work done on my new car and stuff to really make it mine. And so, it's kind of like my tube amps. I'm not happy with off-the-shelf stuff. It's got to be something that's kind of special. So anyway, that was something else that I've been dealing with. So now we're back to Skunky Designs audio channel. I did get the parts to work on these pair of monoblocks of the simple push-pull. And I did get this Hammond transformer that's bringing the voltage down within what I feel comfortable running these tubes at. And we're going to have to, it's not going to quite fit exactly like the other one did, so we're going to have some extra holes here that we're going to put some plugs in and stuff. And, it is what it is. I don't feel like I'm going to, re-drill this whole chassis just to not have a couple of extra holes back here behind the transformer where you won't even see it. So anyway, we're going to get into all this when we get into our next installment on this. And I was a little ticked off that, here's my rant for the video. I was a little ticked off that all these people were saying, oh yeah, you can run these tubes, with this voltage transformer, and they're perfectly fine running hotter than the ST35. It's like, here's the voltage transformer it uses. And then I realized that here's a factory amp that's running these tubes out of spec. And then when I read online, everybody's saying, oh yeah, those new old stock ones that you can't find anymore. If you can, they're stupid expensive. They would run at those voltages, but the modern ones won't. And I didn't want to build an amp and supply a schematic and have a build for something that potentially could have tubes arcing and sparking and dying and whatever, and having you guys build something that's not reliable just to get like that much more power out of it. And so I decided to go with what should be safe voltage. The amp still should make good power, and it'll be something that will be reliable, and I don't have my inbox filled up with people going, hey, you showed me to build this amp like this, and now I've blown up 8 tubes and I'm pissed off. I don't want that to happen, because I don't want to build something that you got to have, a 1965 vintage tube for the amp to run without blowing up. So anyway, I'm ready to dive back into this stuff. Probably going to try to get this video for the power transformer and stuff and get the voltages run on this thing and start moving forward on this build. I have been building some amps locally for some friends of mine too. That's another thing that's taking up some of my time, getting kind of caught up on that stuff. So, and I haven't forgot about possibly doing some sort of kits here. I mean, I know some of you guys have been hanging around a long time and hearing me saying, yeah, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that, and then I've never done anything. But, I've really learned from experience now that trying to sell built amps, I'd have to charge so much for them. I just don't think people would pony up and pay for them. Maybe I'm wrong, but if I didn't get like $4,000 for one of my 300B amps, it's just really not worth my time to build it. Because I figured out even that EAR 834 phono stage, the way I build them, it's $500 in parts. And for me to make anything, I'd have to charge $700, $800 for the finished preamp, and you can buy them, from China-built ones for $300, and I can't compete with that. And so, anyway, enough ranting on that. Thanks for all you new folks that have subbed. That's another reason I wanted to get back to start creating content. I see that I've got another 2,000 subscribers just from watching my old content. So we're going to be at 5,000 subs soon. That's exciting. So hopefully we get some more content, some new stuff, get y'all watching the channel again. And thanks again for hanging in there and being patient. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap up this video. And we'll see you next week for the Monday Monologue.